Now we're getting to the research part. So fortunately from 2022, the department is supplying us with quite a bit of resources in the PAT itself. So in 2022, you can find it on page 8. They've given us a whole list of the sources in the document itself. We've also had these provided to us, so they're also saved in the folder if you click on the link in the description below the video. All right, but you still need to find at least one source yourself, please. You'll see they do ask for that, although there's no mark given for that. It's really good to at least try to find one resource of your own. You also need to have a variety of the source types. So at least 2 different websites plus one other source. So the other source will be something like media, printed or electronic media, even though you find that online. So that can be a newspaper article, a magazine, an email or interview, a video, a journal article, anything like that. If you're unsure, please check with your teacher about this. So we're going to do this bibliographical information later. Just keep in mind the type of sources that you need. Just note that this is only 1 mark though. So don't skew your effort so much that you can't find nice sources because you're trying to get this single mark so much. But just check with your teacher how they mark this. So let's just have a look at when you're picking the sources you're going to use and whether you go research yourself, what you need to look out for when you decide what sources you're going to use. You need to keep in mind, firstly, the quality. Okay, just because the department necessarily supplied a source doesn't mean it's good quality. They sometimes want you to realize that something's bad quality and you can't use it. So we are going to do a quality analysis right at the end, but we don't have time to do one beforehand now. So the basic gist of it is check that the author is legit. You can't use some kind of no-name blogger. It has to be relatively recent. You can't use something that gives us security tips from 10 years ago. And it needs to cover quite a bit of content. Okay, it can't just list like the top 10 security methods for whatever. Then it doesn't really cover enough content. So it needs to cover a lot of content, back by a note, and it has to be recent and be a legit author as well. Things like the fact that it's objective and that it correlates with other sources are also important. Those are just takes a bit more effort to verify. So I think if you keep these 3 things in mind, you should be okay. All right, then the next thing you need to keep in mind is you need enough content in those 3 sources for 3 subheadings. Okay, for 3 subonderwerpe. Now your subheadings are not necessarily going to be these. If you watch the topic video properly, you might have an idea of the kind of subtopics that you're thinking of, but it'll be something along the line of a problem, what the impact was on the people, and a solution. This is the general outline of the kind of topics we're generally looking for in almost any PAT, because that's what we're trying to aim for. We're trying to identify a problem and look for a final solution. Okay, so at least 3, but preferably not more than 4. Okay, 4 subtopics maximum, but preferably just 3. So keep in mind, all of your sources can't just be about the solution. All of your sources can't just be about the problem. You need to have sources that cover a little bit of each. Ideally, if you can find one source that deals with each of these, then that's the easiest way to handle it. Okay, so please keep that in mind. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to copy the sources from what they give us from the department, and you're going to paste them in your phase 1 folder under research. So under research, you're going to choose your 3 sources and paste them over there. One of them needs to be your own source then. So let's quickly have a look at how to save a source as a PDF. Okay, so let's say this is the article that you've decided you want to use. We've checked its financial mail. It's a legit website. The author is fine. It's a relatively recent article, and I've checked that it covers enough content that I want to use. So now there's more than one way I can try this. The one way I can try is to see if I print the website as a PDF, what it comes out as. Just have a look and see whether you have all the information you need, and then you save it in the right place. That's one way. The other way is to copy the URL here at the top in the address bar into a website called printfriendly.com. So you can paste it over there and say preview. Okay. What it does then is it generates a print-friendly page that is a PDF version. Now, what's cool here is you can actually delete some stuff as well. You'll see it. So this I don't need. I'm just going to delete that. I'm definitely going to remove these featured parts, but it looks like this whole article wasn't actually very print-friendly. So I'm going to have to use the print as a PDF method. So I'm just going to say print here. I'm choosing the printer, either save as PDF or print to PDF. You can choose which one works the best. Have a look and see what it looks like. Check that it doesn't cut off anything essential, and then say save, and then go and choose where you're going to save it. Okay. So then I'm going to go save it in phase 1 in my research, and I'll just leave it as that file name. Okay. Now the next thing we actually want to do is we want to open this and make some highlights on it. Now, if we open it in Edge, which is the default viewer in on most Windows machines, you can use the highlight tool over here as well. So the idea is that you are starting to then digest these sources and see what you're going to use. So if you read through it and you see, okay, here's a nice statistics, this quote I want to use, you can just select that and choose highlight. Well, let's first choose highlight and then select it. Read through it, have a look, see what you're going to use. You can even you can erase once you've made a highlight. You can change the colors over here. You can use a text only highlight, but that doesn't work if it didn't save it as text. So basically what you need to do now is you need to read through your sources, and you need to decide what information in the sources you're actually going to use, and you need to start highlighting them. Something that might be nice is to actually highlight the three different subtopics in a different color. So everything that's a problem in green, everything that's a solution in yellow, something like that might work nice. When you're done with that, please save the document then. So save it with the highlights so that tomorrow, if you open it up again, you actually have access to all the highlighted contents. Now, once you know what your 3 headings are, you need to go back into your Word document and replace that heading 1, 2, and 3 with your 3 headings. So if you've now realized after you've read through all your stuff, these are the 3 headings you're going to use, you can go in and change it right now. Just make sure that you actually put the headings in an order that makes sense. It doesn't help you start with a solution. We obviously want to discuss the problem first and end off with a solution. And please, you don't have to use my exact headings. You're welcome to if you want to, but you don't have to. Okay, go ahead and finalize your research, save your PDFs, and highlight roughly about 10, because this is what we're going to do with these highlights, is we're going to reverse engineer 10 research questions from these. Okay, so just so you know, that's why we're doing this. But so we're going through our sources so long and checking what information we're going to use from them, because it doesn't help we load them as this fantastic source and then we realize afterwards they actually didn't have anything meaningful in them. Okay, so what we've been doing now is we've been working on the information summaries. I'm not going to tick these yet because we haven't put it into tables yet, but if we hadn't done that, we wouldn't be able to get any of these marks. So keep in mind, we've been working towards this goal. For now, the 1 mark that we're definitely getting is in phase 3. We have saved our sources, electronic and hard copies of the documents, including evidence of sources are available. You'll lose this mark if you don't complete the rest of the PAT, but I'm sure you're all going to complete this nicely, hey?